All right, so tonight we are going to speak about the leaked autopsy, not stolen autopsy, the leaked autopsy that a certain person took a photo of, many photos of, and we're not supposed to. So that person that took the photos of the autopsy that was leaked when Michelle gave it to Tom Grant, who leaked it to TMZ, is, I don't really know how to say her name, but it's spelled Oriel, Oriel Collins. She is the person that got the autopsy of Kurt Cobain out that got leaked to TMZ. And Michelle Wilkins and Lisa Franzi, fucking whatever, and whoever else are covering for that woman right there that went into Gary Cobain's place, his home, little trailer or whatever, and snapped photos of that autopsy. And they were not allowed to do that. And Gary Cobain confronted them on that. But she did that, and now Michelle is trying to say that it was little Lennon that did it, that took the photos. Hey, Nabi M. Hey, Susan Engel. So it was Lisa and Michelle covering for Oriel, who is the one that went to Gary Cobain's place and took photos of the autopsy. And now Michelle Wilkins is trying to say that it was little Lennon that did it. And I'm taking my time to say this because that little main thing, what I just said, is what they're trying to cover up. Yeah, little Lennon wasn't there. She helped coordinate everything, or maybe she was, I don't know, but she's not the one that took the photo. I don't know if she was, I'll ask her. I really do not know. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, she wasn't there. She helped coordinate it. And it was Oriel Collins that took the photo of the autopsy and gave it out to people, that leaked it to Tom Grant, who leaked it to TMZ. So it's a woman named Oriel Collins. And you're hearing it here for the first time on The Life of a Borderline. And just as Danny and I were taking this seriously and trying to really do something with this case, I'm still going to, even though Danny's not here. Yeah, Twist of Lemon 666. Yeah, I like that. I used to actually speak with her. I was connected with her like when she first started her channel and was doing the videos of her playing the guitar. That was like 2017. And we were talking with John Perky as well, of The Observer, one of Kurt's friends, at the same time. Yeah, she she asked Jessica Hopper a lot of questions. You can pull that up right now, actually. Let's do that. Let's try to, from hearing it, sense what we can from her voice when she's thinking about that night or early morning. with what happened to Kurt. All right, here we go with that.
Yeah, cool. I happen to be friends with Maureen Herman, and she told me to tell you that she said hi. Oh, great. Okay. Now, this question involves when you were quite young, so it might make you feel a bit awkward, okay? So I'm just going to read it out now. According to the Nirvana biography by Everett True, you spoke about Kurt coming back to his house while you and Callie were staying there. That he was in your room chatting and even joking about your shaved head.
I don't really know.
I'm just going to ask the rest of it.
I don't know.
I'm going to just, having
You're
spoken,
asking me a question about someone who's very close to me.
I'm just saying, I spoke to the No Effects guitarist El Jefe and Chris Flippin of Lagwagon earlier this year, and they were both pretty adamant that Kurt was murdered and seemed to know exactly what went down. And my thing is, what was your perception of his mood when he did speak to you that morning? When he chatted?
She's already said she doesn't.
Are you covering for someone? Is there a reason? One second.
No, she's a much.
You know, I mean, when you said that Courtney was very, very generous for you to write for your scenes, is there something behind that?
Stop asking a question and I can talk to you.
Go first. Go first. Go first. Go first. You look really defensive, by the way. But I'm just saying. No. I know that.
Okay, so let's just you want to go there?
Sure, yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
Sorry, I just want to pause to say, Kurt would want us confronting these people right away, even back in the year 1994, if we would have known all these people's names and what they did. Unfortunately, it took many years for information to get out. But now that we know, we have to treat it like it's 1994 and go after them in legal ways, of course.
When people seem to have a conspiracy about something that you care about, really,
I understand that. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As I said, I spoke to El Jefe. Have you heard of No Effects? Come on, you're a music critic. You know No Effects. Yeah.
That people periodically.
Well, please don't get upset. Okay,
Oh,
I understand.
You're asking about someone who was like a family to me.
You were in the house though when he was supposed to be listening.
Stop it.
I'm asking you.
Don't fucking know that.
I'm asking you. I will leave. Yeah, no worries. I will leave. No worries. Yeah. You can if you want. I'm sorry for upsetting you, but I actually think that you're covering something.
Excuse me.
You're covering for someone,
Excuse me.
and you're scared of someone, and I would say that was Courtney Love.
Excuse me. Sorry for.
I'm sorry for upsetting you, Jessica, but that's how I feel. No, there's a lot more people that I've spoken to, and it's not just the internet.
Could you delete that, please?
Excuse me.
Kurt Cobain died for so many sins.
I used to see it at the cafe. We spent some time with El Duce. You know how they found El Duce? Dead? Found him dead with no head. I did not know that. He found him on train tracks with his head on one side and his body on the other. You committed suicide? No, it's Courtney Love. And you are fat? I'm Fat Mike.
All right. Right now, and she is covering, even if she doesn't want to cover. She's covering for Courtney Love. Here we go with Kurt Cobain in 1993, July 22nd. If it comes through.
It was the plan for my life was to be, ever since I can remember, to be a commercial artist. And ever since I can remember, my mother gave me a lot of support in being artistic. She was real complimentary on my drawings and paintings. And so throughout my entire life, I've always been building up to that. Like by the time I was in ninth grade, I was taking 3 commercial art classes, and I was going to go to art school, and my art teacher would enter my paintings and stuff in contests and stuff. I wasn't interested in that at all, really. By that time, it was just known that I was, by my family, that I was going to be a commercial artist, and that really wasn't what I wanted to do, because I knew that I wasn't as good as everyone else thought I was in that town, because the ratios aren't that great, because, I'm a better artist than, probably everyone in that school, but that doesn't say anything if you compare it to a larger city, and I knew I knew my limitations. So, I really enjoy art. I like to paint still, but, and the same thing, I've always felt the same way with writing as well, because I know that I'm not educated enough to really write something that I would personally enjoy on the level that I like to read.
That's not necessarily it. I mean,
maybe poetry, maybe, on a small scale, but
you see, sometimes that's a burden by too much knowledge.
what?
Sometimes we're burdened by too much knowledge.
Well, I agree, yeah, but I'm going
That's
to
really actually. And there's something very enviable to us about America, because that blank slate policy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to write something new, because that's it. The slate is blank. We've got the stuff all over the slate already. It's not a little bit of the corner for it. That's very frustrating. When you're being bad in England, it's like being very slowly submerged. It's very claustrophobic.
I've felt that way when I've been there.
Which is a very different sensation. Well, I imagine I've never felt really bad in America. So I don't know what it feels like to feel bad in America. But in England, it's like inside claustrophobia.
Right, and here it's more like losing your stomach. It's like being lost. It's just so big, Even though I was...
Second.
I got guys on the ground there, local guys, on the phone, and have Dylan give me the instructions.
Courtney's had some trouble. She's in the hospital and she got arrested. She said there was a big mistake and she's fine. She wants us to go back to the house and look for the shotgun again. She thinks it might be in the hidden compartment of the bedroom closet.
Hidden compartment. She hadn't mentioned that to us before, but she said that's where Kurt keeps the shotgun. So if it's there, that's where it's going to be.
Okay, yeah. Little Lennon, yes. Just a sec. Yeah, you sent her there, but you didn't know she was going to do that. And then she did it. And then she sent it to Michelle and everything, and Michelle sent it to Tom. And we're listening to Soak and Bleach as we speak about this too. I'll pause it in between. And now they're trying to cover for Oriole and say it was you that did it.
Apparently written by Kemp.
But I released the email messages from Facebook Messenger that Michelle sent with Oriole explaining how she doesn't want to get caught for it, but she wants attention for it at the same time. And Tom probably got paid by TMZ. Of course he would. And well, he's friends with the guy, so he probably sparked up a deal with him.
It didn't make sense. Kurt, I can't believe you managed to be in this house without me noticing. You're a fucking asshole for not calling Courtney and at least letting her know that you're okay. She's in a lot of pain, Kurt. And this morning she had another accident, and now she's in the hospital again. We looked in that little hidden compartment. There was no shotgun there.
So, little Lennon, how did you find out about Joe, the eyewitness? And you were friends with Gary Cobain. And then how did you meet Oriole? Did Michelle, how did you meet Michelle? How did you come across those two? And I'll keep playing this until you respond.
She's your wife. And you have a child together. Get it together to at least tell her you're okay, or she is going to die. It's not fair, man. Do something now. Later, when I talk to Rosemary,
I haven't seen that. What has she said since the audio? I mean, about Oriole, because I know she wants to keep that name away from the public.
well, now that I told her I was suspicious of it, she jumped in right away, and she knows Kelly real well too. When I picked up that note and read it, it sounded phony to me.
In 1 year, I'm able to blow all this up with all the legal cases I'm currently going through that I cannot really speak on. Good luck for the people that threatened me to put me in jail, Lisa. I'm gonna do it to you. I already served my time.
It sounds like a setup letter. Absolutely. I agree. When I first found the letter, I had no doubt that Callie had written it, but it still looked strange to me. You know, the letter just didn't make sense. It looked
right. Well, it was not written by. It wasn't a sincere letter.
Right. Yeah. It sounded like
I thought Callie wrote it because he knew that Kurt was dead.
Then I met Michelle by. I don't know if chat repeat is on, so I'll just read it out loud. I found out about Joe through Matthew Ricker. I met Oriole on YouTube, actually. Then I met Michelle by her joining my group. What was your group? So Michelle just introduced herself, got herself involved, and then started taking control of the whole thing and orchestrating the money thing, like the money scams, like she did with her makeup business before this.
Gildan and I headed out to the.
What did Michelle say? Oriole, she wanted. I remember when that was happening. I was chatting with Lisa at the time, and everybody in the Who Killed Kurt admin chat that I was in before that was done for me. And I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't go on another year doing work for them and having them just like make money off of it so that they could benefit themselves and renovate their bathrooms and stuff. Yeah, because Gary Cobain even said to you that just a sec, little Lennon. There, I added you as a moderator. Yeah, Gary's even said to you that he confronted them and said, no, you can't take photos. And that's in the video short, one of them, one of the two that was recently uploaded. Oh, and here we go back to it. So completion to a new comment. Oh, yeah.
town of Carnation, just outside of Seattle. Kurt and Courtney owned 2 cabins there, and we were curious to see if there had been any evidence of.
Yeah, and I'm glad you are. And you have a big story. You could email TMZ. You can even have ChatGPT help you write it out since it's so stressful. And you can give this story and get it. They'll make it get attention as well.
Kurt being there. We got about halfway there when we stopped to get gas, and Dylan made another phone call.
I got a phone call from our electrician, Gary Smith, and he was doing some security lighting at a house that we just knew was a rock star in Seattle. We weren't sure.
When did everybody find out that there was an autopsy and that photos got leaked of it by Oriole and Michelle?
I know who it was. I mean, he literally just kind of stumbled across it. He looked through a doorway, a glass door, a locked door, and he saw a box.
Just stumbled across it. Like how we have with Joe and Danny.
He said, I think he shot himself. I called the radio station, told him what happened.
So I answered the call, and there's a guy on the line. He's going, I've got some incredible news here. Anything?
A friend of mine said he just heard.
Yeah, good. And the fans of Who Killed Kurt should be fans of Gary Cobain, not Who Killed Kurt, which is no one related to Kurt. It's 2 people wanting to be popular on YouTube. They're not opening a case. They're not even working with a private investigator and Matthew Ricker anymore. They used to be, but that doesn't mean they still are. They aren't anymore. Now they're just about popularity and getting money and feeling great and keeping that up and living like that, living a good lifestyle like that. And congratulations, brother.
They found a body at Kurt's house.
What?
Yeah, you weren't there. Little Lennon wasn't there. Oriole was, and she took the photos. Was Michelle ever there at Gary's?
Rockland Nirvana is dead. An electrician discovered Cobain's body in the Singers Lake, Washington home this morning. The electrician tells Como News that emergency crews told him that the dead man is.
When I heard that the body was found in a room that was called the greenhouse, I turned to Dylan and I said, "What's the greenhouse?" Yeah, he said, "Oh, it's just the dirty little room above the garage. They stored lumber or something in there." And it sounded to me like this was just some kind of broom closet or something. I did not tell you to check that room out. Well, again, I hope the listeners bear in mind perhaps to stick over it longer.
He glanced down on the floor. Saw something that looked like a mannequin. I can see blood in this ear, long hair.
Yeah, Michelle leaked it to Tom, and Tom leaked it to TMZ. Yeah, if there's a photo, Allison, of Michelle with Gary, I would like to see it. Was she there with Oriole? Was Michelle Wilkins there with Oriole Collins?
He got a little shaken. The
French doors were locked. I was first in and right away could see that it was a fatality. Shotgun lay in his lap, a significant pool of blood by his head. There's nothing we could do for him, so we didn't touch the body. We'll check for mail or something with a name on it. The officer said, hey, do you want the name? When I needed it for my logbook. He said it's Cobain or Cobain. A couple of second delay in my head snapping around. I said, you mean like the rock star?
Little Lennon. I don't know if you heard me, but was Michelle there with Oriole, or was that on a separate occasion that Michelle went there to Gary's?
A developing story shocks the music world. A man found dead this morning is rock star Kurt Cobain.
Police can't release the details found in Cobain's suicide note, but over the past couple of years, Cobain has had some tough times. Cobain was 27. He joins a growing list of rock stars who burned bright, then burned out tragically.
When we arrived at the property, broad daylight, the greenhouse stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, you could see it from the street above the bushes. It was so tall. I just didn't understand
Little Lennon, are you still there?
why he didn't point that out to me. Dylan didn't like the press, and he said Kurt didn't like the press.
The current affairs, stay away from them.
Tom Gray, how are you? Fine. I was hired by Courtney Law to investigate the disappearance of her husband. I've got information I think would be helpful. Could I speak to the detective in charge? Wait here.
He said he's too busy to speak with you now. Call the station after 3 p.m. You can talk to him then.
I was dumbfounded by that. If I were a police officer investigating the dead body and somebody told me there was somebody outside that had been in the house the night before, I'd tell them, hold them. If they say they need to leave, handcuff them and keep them there until we get a chance to talk to them. You don't let somebody like that go. You don't take a chance until you fully investigated the case and determined positively how this person died. The Seattle Police Department claimed they were investigating this as a possible homicide. If they were, they certainly wouldn't allow somebody to leave when they'd been in the house the night before a dead body was found on the property.
My name is Norm Stamper. I was a police officer for 34 years, the last 6 from 1994 to 2000 as Seattle's police chief. I wouldn't pretend that there aren't police officers who are cynical and suspicious and skeptical. That was the case with the Cobain death.
John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe. Over the past 50 years, as a medical legal forensic consultant, I've been involved in thousands of cases, about 18,000 autopsies, and I have reviewed, signed off, or supervised, and evaluated about 38,000 other autopsies.
I personally investigated, supervised, consulted, and researched on over 8,000 homicides. I wrote Practical Homicide Investigation because there was a need for a standard protocol to approach all death scenes.
From the very beginning, everything that the detectives encountered indicated to them that this was a suicide.
The decision to rule the case by...
Like what? The money-hungry wife that wanted him murdered?
Faced the same day, and to make a public...
Oh, Oriole. Okay, just a sec. I'm reading it all now. So, Oriole. Little Lennon. Well, by Little Lennon. Once I released the audio yesterday, or whenever she started putting Oriole's name in with mine yesterday, I found out about Joe through Matthew Ricker, but I met Oriole on YouTube actually. Then I met Michelle by her joining my group. Oriole hasn't reached out to me. Michelle was talking all kinds of stuff about me and who killed Kurt yesterday. Something in the way. Oh, so I'm sorry. I'm just reading all the same stuff. I wish you would respond again.
Announcement that this was a suicide is not the way good police agencies would function today.
As a homicide commander, I would not be making any proclamations that the case was a suicide without the evidence having been processed, the victimology, the medical legal process, toxicology. It's a death investigation.
They knew nothing about the drug level. They knew nothing about fingerprints. They knew nothing about anything else at that time except that they had found him with a shotgun.
The reason we call things death investigations is that we don't want to prematurely make them homicides, suicides, or accidents. It's a
And we need to perform an autopsy.
The lead singer of the rock band Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, has died of a gunshot wound in Seattle.
The world was stunned when Kurt Cobain, the 27-year-old musician and self-styled prince of grunge, was found dead.
Kurt Cobain was a genius. He was the powerful voice of a generation.
suicides, or accidents.
Because you know that there are going to be more questions. People are going to know every single thing about it. In the Philip Seymour Hoffman case, they found him with a needle in his arm. They found 50 bags of heroin right there in his apartment. And yet they did not make any announcement beyond that. They knew that they should not be commenting. Official statements as to cause and manner of death do not come from police or even homicide detectives. They do not.
I've never believed that the police were involved from the beginning in any kind of a conspiracy involving Kurt Cobain's death. I think they were set up by Courtney Love from that missing persons report and everything that it said in it.
If my officers heard or were made aware that Kurt Cobain had left rehab, had purchased a shotgun, was suicidal, that's of course going to affect them.
They, what I call, assume the suicide position, which to me means cut corners, not do this, not do that, because when a suicide, no problem.
I mean, I have to admit, there's been a lot of inconsistencies in this case. Really.
The reports that were coming out of the media said Kurt Cobain was barricaded.
Little Lennon, I've been asking you. Did you hear me? All the questions I asked you? Was Michelle there with Oriole? I'll continue this, but if you've heard me, was Michelle there with Oriole? Or was Oriole just going to Gary's that time by herself when somebody went to Gary's?
Inside the greenhouse.
Look at this photograph. Is that the lot you're talking about?
I don't know where this picture's from, so I couldn't say.
Well, it's from the greenhouse. I've been over the place inside and out. Trust me, that is the only one.
And cheers, though, if you're not here still.
Presuming I'm telling you the truth.
Love
Why
you.
would
Good
you say
night.
that he locked himself in?
Because the door was locked.
Look at the picture. It's not a deadbolt. It's a twist lock. Anybody could have twisted that lock and pulled the door shut behind them when they left.
The lock doesn't matter. There was a stool wedged up against the door. Now, how do you wedge a stool against the door after you've already left the room?
The police report plainly states that the stool was simply sitting in front of the two unlocked French doors at the other side of the room. But on one of the reports, it was added that the stool was blocking the entrance.
Someone reported that there was a stool blocking the door. That wasn't the case. I don't know where that came from.
If you could just show me the photographs your officer took at the scene, we could put that issue to rest once and for all.
Well, the photographs haven't been developed, probably never will be. We don't develop photographs on suicides.
I have never heard of that. Every case I've been involved with, the crime scene photographs were developed. Why not release them to other experts? I can't answer that question. It was something that the Seattle Police Department did. In hindsight, they probably should have, but that's what they did.
Nothing you've said convinces me this is anything but a suicide. Now, do you got any other pearls for me?
Not this time. Detective Cameron resigned when he learned I was preparing to fire him. He had colluded with one of his own detectives to replant evidence that had been stolen by a homicide detective at a homicide scene. And it was for that reason that I was preparing to fire him.
I'm just giving you the information I have. I don't care what you do with it. I understand that, but I think your investigation is interlinked and our investigation doesn't apply to it.
Maybe, you're concerned with what he was doing, where he was, and all that. Normally, our homicide unit does not even respond to suicide. The patrol officer takes the suicide and feels good about it. He notifies the medical examiner's office.
You don't allow a patrol officer with no homicide investigative experience to determine whether a scene was a suicide or not.
And he goes out there, they look at the body, they're comfortable with it's a suicide.
We don't even respond. My opinion is, in 1994, they just didn't look at anything. If it appeared to be a suicide, it was a suicide. Case closed.
To poison the atmosphere. And I have been involved in cases in which it was impossible almost to overcome the that had been created within the community because of the way the death had been reported.
Judging by the evidence in the scene, Love says Cobain apparently drew a chair up to a window looking out on Puget Sound, sat down, took some more drugs, picked up his shotgun, and using his thumb, it seems, shot himself in the head. Physical damage was so severe that his body can only be identified by fingerprints.
Normally a shotgun wound to the head, the ones I've seen are pretty devastating, often making facial features unrecognizable. His head was not grossly deformed or badly damaged, and I think I certainly would have recognized him. I don't see any reason why anyone wouldn't have knew what he looked like.
Seattle's own police reports indicate that Officer Lamandowski found Kurt on the floor. He opened it up, removed his driver's license, and he put it on top of Cobain's wallet to take a photograph for evidence. Most of the media reported that Kurt left his driver's license exposed. And a lot of went into a lot of detail that he did that so that everyone would recognize him, but it was completely false.
Did you read the article in us? Quotation supposedly from suicide note. I can't live my life like this any longer. Something that was me. That's not yet suicide. The only people that got that the information about what's in the suicide note is Courtney and me and the police. So they had to have gotten that from Courtney to the best of my knowledge. And that's not a statement that's in the suicide note. But yet it's a statement that I feel she wants me to think.
That was amazing that we can do this.
Love, contrary to rumor, says she and Cobain broken up. Says Cobain had first written a suicide note to her, who said, in part, it's not fun for me anymore. I can't live this life.
News media play a great role in these matters. John Kennedy incidentally pointed out the need for integrity within the news media. This has been something that was commented upon going back to is because sometimes pressures from news media can be very, very significant. Right.
The toxicology report from Kurt Cobain's autopsy indicated a heroin blood level of 1.52 milligrams per liter.
5 milligrams level of 0.035 milligrams. Most users, even heavy users, only use up to 40 to 60 milligrams in one hit. So you can see, to reach 1.52 milligrams per liter, you're talking about an amount that would have certainly have exceeded 200 milligrams that were injected into Kurt Cobain.
3 times the amount that would be considered lethal. I think very legitimate questions have been raised about the level of heroin.
We have not, in 18 years, found a single case where somebody could have the level of heroin in their body that Kurt did and still remain conscious.
And if you tell you the lethal dose for the average person, even severe heroin addict, it would have been incapacitated, it would have been unconscious. And then you won't have any stage, put away the heroin kit, pick up the shotgun, position it backwards, and pull the trigger.
That deals with coordinative functions. How about the emotional aspects of this? Why would he then shoot himself before the drug has had a chance to take effect?
No study that I know of has correlated the use of heroin with suicide.
I cannot think of a case in which I have had someone inject himself with a large amount of heroin and then proceed to kill himself. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit in with these kinds of situations involving heroin.
These are questions that I think deserve answers, and in fact require answers.
Many of the questions could be answered if the medical examiner's office were made public. An autopsy report.
I've been able to see the toxicology report or the autopsy report because I haven't had access to review the actual documentation from the authorities.
The autopsy report is public record. Apparently, in this jurisdiction, it is not.
In the case of Kurt Cobain, they should have made that part of the release with the freedom of information. Why they didn't do that, I don't know. Maybe they should have. We wouldn't be having this discussion today.
There was a documentary made about 19.
Okay, hey, you here? That's here. Message me on Facebook. Can you hear this well? When I pop up this video, we're going to go to Cassie Stoddard's case. And she is a girl that was 16 years old when she got murdered in 2007. And this case is known as the Scream Killers, inspired by the Scream movie. We're not going to remember the killers. We're going to remember Cassie. And if we talk about the killers, we're going to talk about what they did to her. Not anything to glamorize them.
Casino, Ontario's most trusted online
That's not
casino.
even a real person, by the way. That's an AI bot.
Now with the highest win rate.
That's an AI-generated person.
On Prime Crime.
Hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay?
2 teenage boys set out to make a movie.
I've always wanted to make a mark on the world and stuff. And this is a good way to do it.
But the line between fantasy starts to blur.
They apparently both liked horror movies and developed a movie script that involved multiple homicides.
Plot twist no one saw coming.
Some kids goof off and they film home videos, but when do we know that it's going too far?
Hey there, everybody, I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. A popular high school student is found brutally stabbed to death in a quiet Idaho town. At first, there's seemingly no explanation, no motive, until police realize they're investigating a real-life horror movie.
Lunacy 911.
I need an ambulance.
Okay, what's going on?
There's a dead girl on my nose. She's missing a finger. On it. Down and tell me if she's breathing.
I guess I'm back. All right, I'm back. The Life of a Borderline is back. I guess we're not going to watch that. I don't know what we can do. Let's I don't know what to fucking do now. Fuck. I guess we'll just stay here. I guess we'll talk about the autopsy that was leaked by people that weren't supposed to do that Gary Cobain didn't want to do that. You want to threaten to put me in jail? I served my time, Lisa. I served my time, Michelle. I served my time, Oriole. Looks like you and your friends are going to have to serve some time eventually as well. Well, that'll be cool. You'll be a riot girl for sure. You'll become a lesbian in jail. And toothbrushes are not going to be for your teeth anymore. Well, not just for your teeth. The Courtney Love kind of lifestyle, man. Why go halfway when you can go all the way? Show that rear. Make people profit off of it. You know you can do good, kids. And so, things are going to get quite extreme. Because people like to do extreme things and then extremely lie about the extreme things they do. And then other extreme people that have been fucked over want to extremely expose them and get them out of the way so that extremely better things can happen. I don't know what to play now. Just listen to something that can't get banned. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna have to step it up, obviously. Allison, this is not working. Oh my gosh. Let's watch this by Dr. Phil. Nah, let's not do that. Who are the three people that are here right now? Allison, okay. Just a sec. I'm currently going through a bunch of videos right now. Looking at which one to play. Fuck it, nobody's here. Are you ready? Allison? Are you ready to listen to something? Okay, just just a sec. Alright, just a second. Here we go. This was my friend that was in a Goosebumps episode as well, who called me an idiot. The one from Freddy vs. Jason I was telling you the other day. But listen to this. It's from an indie film he did here in Vancouver.
Maybe once in a lifetime. It's an uncensored media for a few minutes.
Alright, just a second, just a second. Ba-ba-ba! All right, tell me if you can hear this, Allison. Just a second. Just a second, just a second. Here's Brendan.
Maybe a once in a lifetime opportunity to listen to uncensored media for a few minutes. So I made the decision to value your interests higher than my life. I want to make you wake up and change. But before I tell you what I think you should do, I want to give you the facts. And I mean it, the facts. You understand?
Fuck. Just a second, people. Oh my gosh. Let me try to connect it to my speaker. Everything fucking has to go wrong. Oh, fuck. Anyway, here we go. Fuck every other app. Oh my gosh.
Maybe a once in a lifetime opportunity to listen to uncensored media. Maybe a once in a lifetime
Allison, can you hear it now?
to listen to uncensored media for a few minutes. What I have to say is important. I had to kill a lot of people. And I'm okay to kill myself to get my message to you. So I made the decision to value your interests higher than my life. I want to make you wake up and change. But before I tell you what I think you should do, I want to give you the facts. And I mean it, the facts. The NSA tapes every single phone call, email, and text on Earth. People like Snowden or Assange, who give us much needed information to protect democracy, get hunted and prosecuted by the U.S. government. The U.S. government is funded by the rich and likes to keep people in the dark, ignorant, and on the brain level of children. They make sure people are busy, making money to survive, to take care of their family, their house, their lawn. They want people thinking they are free and have a choice and to do whatever they want, but they can't. The people that are representing you are bought and paid for to keep you stupid in your small, stupid little world. How can there be no gun control, even though there are monthly massacres? In the USA, 11,000 people are shot every year. In the UK, it's only 300. Why? Because the UK doesn't have guns. People don't have guns, period. What I've done in the past and what I'm doing right now is the result of no gun control. There aren't even background checks to filter out people with criminal records. Why is this? Because 50% of the senators and governors are paid by the gun industry. So wake up. Healthcare is of course beneficial to at least 95% of the people in America. Basically, all of the developed world has healthcare. Almost 50% of Americans are against it. Based on the perfect brainwashing media machine, the Iraq War was a crime. Powell, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld lied to the United Nations and the rest of the world. Saddam had no weapons of mass destruction, and he had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. But we know our friends, the Saudis, financed the 9/11 attacks. But because of their oil, we don't do anything against them. Instead, we send soldiers to die in countries that have nothing to do with domestic terror attacks. Why didn't Obama file charges against the Bush government? Bush cost the taxpayers hundreds of billions and committed war crimes. Why is Obama not doing anything about that? Because he is also paid and a member of the club. More migrants got deported under Obama than under any other president. Why didn't he close Guantanamo Bay where prisoners sit without charges, evidence, proof, or a court case for over 13 years now? He did not veto the detainee provisions in the National Defense Authorization Act, which codify the indefinite detention of people, including Americans, without trial. We have a constitutional crisis in the United States. We now have a rogue state. It is a violation of international law, a violation of Magna Carta, going back 800 years of what our sense of justice means. Obama should be charged for that, and he should go to jail. Speaking of jail, USA has 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prisoners. People go to jail because they have 10 grams of cocaine in their pockets. Half of the prisoners are in jail for drug possession, and more than half of them are black. Why does this absurd situation not get changed? I'll tell you why. Because Washington gets paid to keep it going by the prison industry lobby. Why don't the rich pop stars and film stars and white stockbrokers who use speed and
That's totally right.
every day get thrown in jail? Why?
And
Because
we
you are
hire him
above
as
the
a TV
law.
talk show.
If you are rich, you think because the Morgans, the Gettys, the Benevents, the Rockefellers, and other criminal assholes who founded America did something good with their charities, but you overlooked that they stole all that money and they never should have been rich in the first place. What I want from you, the crowd, is this, okay? I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there. You use your weapons. You rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same. You hang. I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there. You use your weapons. You rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same. You hang them from the first tree that you can find. We need to cleanse people. Okay, we need a reboot.
We are actually through the roof nationwide. We have the best ratings ever. I mean, we are now on the map everywhere. Everybody knows us.
We need to destroy that system, but I cannot do this work alone. You hang them. And don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there. Use your weapons. You rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs. It's a downward spiral to the end of all times, and there's no chance that we can survive. I mean, 70 million people every year are brought into this earth. What are they doing? Sucking up our resources. There's too many people, so what do? Just keep them around? Let's kill them. Let's get rid of them. Good. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. But you know what? We're at capacity. We're at capacity now. So sorry. No more. No.
By the way, that's Grady from the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, the 90s Goosebumps episode.
More. So that's what I'll do. Why not? I think that's my plan. That's what I want to do. Let's just clean the world. So maybe the rest of us can sustain a little bit of life. So maybe that's what I'll do in the future. I'll help you out. I'll help you out. And I will cleanse. Make more room for you. I will exhibit my own brand of population control for you. You know about Team Billy, Team David, Team Flynn? Happy childhood memories, proud parents, future plans. My kid will run the world. The sky is the limit. Everything is possible. But it's not. Parents give hope and trust against better knowledge. Flynn will get older and will settle for less. He will be poor or almost poor, and we'll be proud that he makes it into the middle class. He works, he gets a family, finally cannot move, so it's over before it ever began. What Team Flynn was all about. I'm so tired. I've done my duty. I've just killed the most powerful person on the planet and all his corrupt partners. I've killed so many people in my life, and no one can judge me for that. I tried to show you a world for what it is, and you stood idly by. You people, you're obsessed with violence. You're focused on my body count rather than what I was telling you. So everything's remained the same. The prison and the gun laws have not changed. Lobbyists still run Washington. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. Our health and habitat are being compromised as the corporate elite rape and pillage the earth. The majority of the world's problems are a direct result of American policy. You think this is the greatest country on earth? It never was. You think it's a bastion of opportunity and freedom? It never was. Poor Europeans, criminals, scumbags boarded a boat rife with disease, and they made a journey to America. They began plundering the land, raping and killing the natives, cultivating the land with slaves stolen from Africa. Today, 24% of the world see America as the greatest threat to world peace today, followed by China at 6% and Russia at 2%. Believe what you want, but the world's opinion is becoming stronger than American imperialist propaganda. If you are a cop or a soldier, you are a tool for the 0.1%, not the general public. There is no land of the free and home of the brave. If you are a soldier, you are a puppet and nothing else. I have a son now. His name is Billy. Like most parents, I believe that my son has the ability to rule the world, create a great impact, follow in my footsteps in many ways. He will be taught that anything is possible. The truth is, that's a lie. Parents are naive. They give hope to their children because it's what they had hoped for themselves. Truth is, my son will likely fall in line with the majority, merely classified into a rapidly diminishing middle class. Let's face it, if he's not the 1%, he will be poor. Struggling to get through life, he will work into his old age, work his ass off in vain to support his family, trying to get ahead and leave something behind for his children's future, scratching and clawing to make ends meet for his entire life. And eventually his body's going to break down. Medical insurance will be unattainable, and then his mind follows, deteriorates, and then he dies. It is what it is. Eventually everything finds its end. In the beginning, I thought it was all about me. I saw everyone around me stealing, taking for themselves without any regard for anyone else. I saw so much greed, selfishness, separation, that I wanted to embody all those things in a way that no one could forget. So when people saw what I was doing, it'd be like they were looking into a mirror, and they'd be forced to change. I wish that we lived in a world where there was no human or animal abuse, where we shared the planet's resources, we used the wind from the oceans, the sun from the Sahara to make energy for all of us together, where our food is distributed to everyone and no one starves and nothing is wasted,
where no one is blinded anymore by religion and we listen to science and facts to really focus on the problems we all collectively face, like climate change. I wish for a world where we can all live in peace, where there's no wars, there's no weapons, there's no violence. But that can't happen. That can't happen. That won't ever happen.
All right. Now we're going to a speech by one of our favorite people, Kristen Slater, and Pump Up the Volume.
Suicide is wrong. Interesting.
Suicide is wrong.
It's how uncomplicated it seems. You know? There you are, you got all these problems swarming around in your brain. Here is one incredibly simple solution.
I'm just surprised it doesn't happen every day around here.
Now they're gonna say I said offing yourself is simple. But no, it's not simple. It's like everything else, you have to read the fine print.
For instance, assuming that there is a heaven.
Who would ever want to go there? You know? I mean, think about it. School year, you're sitting there up in this cloud. It's nice, you know, it's quiet. There's no
teachers, there's no parents.
But guess what? There's nothing to do. Fucking boring.
Another thing to remember about suicide.
It is not a pretty picture. First of all, you shit your shorts, you know? So there you are, dead. People are weeping over you, crying. Girls you never spoke to are saying, why? And you have a load in your shorts.
That's the way I see it, to me. Now, they're saying I shouldn't think stuff like this. You know, they're saying
something is wrong with me. That I should be ashamed. Well, I'm sick of being ashamed.
Aren't you?
Sick to death. I don't mind being dejected and rejected, but I'm not going to be ashamed about it. Hallelujah.
At least pain is real.
You look around and you see nothing is real, but
at least the pain is real.
You know, even the show isn't real. This isn't me. I'm using a voice disguiser. I'm a phony fuck just like my dad. Just like anybody. You see, the real me is just as worried as the rest of you.
They say I'm disturbed. Of course I'm disturbed. I mean, we're all disturbed, and if we're not, why not?
Doesn't this blend of blindness and blandness want to make you do something crazy? Then why not do something crazy? It makes a hell of a lot more sense than blowing your fucking brains out.
You know, go nuts, go crazy, get creative. You got problems? You just check them, nuke them.
They think you're moody, make them think you're crazy.
Make them think you might stop.
They think you got attitude, you show them some real attitude.
Go nuts,
get crazy. Hey, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
POV. Your roommate likes to call points.
Sorry, people. The government wants us to have some Chinese POV time. Just a second. You were 13 when this came out. Holy moly. That's crazy. Yeah, this was 1980 something. Oh, it's in 1990.
I don't know. Drugs are out. Sex is out. Politics are out. Everything is on hold. I mean, we definitely need something new. Just keep waiting for some new voice to come out of somewhere.
1990.
Just say, hey,
wait a second. What is wrong with this picture? Just take a look around.
Maybe this is the answer to everything.
Wouldn't that be nice, huh?
Dear Heart Harry, do you think I should kill myself? Great. Signed, I'm serious. And of course, there is a number here. Look.
Hello, serious?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yep.
I guess what I'm asking
a few months ago,
And now to Jim Carrey on spirituality. Isaac Cappy spoke with Jim Carrey for 3 hours about a month before his murder.
Understood suddenly how thought was just an illusory thing, and how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective. And I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking?
Hey, just a sec, guys. We're going to ask Kat to get on. Kat is Danny's wife. Daniel Clint Rich. And no. Just a sec, just a sec. Oh, wait, we'll wait for Kat's messages. All right.
And suddenly
Back
I
to
was
Jen.
thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe. And ever since that day, I've been trying to get back there. It comes and goes. It's like riding a wave. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off. But at least I know where I want to go. And that I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can.
This is the last thing she'll ever write. She's going to want to cash in on as many 50-cent words as possible.
I've got a meaningfully marked up Moby Dick. What else does a suicide need, huh?
I love my dead gay son.
How do you think he'd react to it?
What do you think I'm going to do with it? Take out her tonsils?
Fuck you all. It's not very subtle, but neither's blowing up a whole school now, is it?
Unlock the power of online trading in the global financial markets.
Fuck that.
And that I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can, because the feeling is amazing. I'm amazed when people go like that. The world is insane, man. It's crazy. It's out of control. It's like people are completely nuts. Like that.
I was going to say, the unconditional love of a near-death experience, yeah, you want to take people with you there. And you don't want to have them return with you anywhere else.
Seriously, we live on a planet where we're very crammed together, and I think we do really well. It's just when we watch the news and when we watch entertainment, it's about people's conflicts tied together in the most exciting possible way. And you imagine that the world is this explosive, horrifying place, and the news is all this negativity condensed, you know, and it really is not representative of what the world is or what the world wants.
Your mind is the universal mind. And the only way you access that universal mind is in the now. It's never going to be in the future. Negative experiences will repeat for as long as they remain useful to you. Well, then you have to say, what does useful mean? If something pisses you off, then you're getting use out of it because it's creating an emotional reaction.
And now to Gigi Allin.
17-year-old girl who has worshipped obscenity and violence that are part of his music performances.
By the way, Kurt Cobain went to jail to visit Gigi Allin, and you can find an interview on YouTube with Kurt Cobain speaking about Gigi Allin with Chris and Dave and Pat Smear.
Is that fans love the thrill of coming to his show knowing that their lives are in danger. Well, sitting next to him is 17-year-old Liz Mankowski. She's been a fan of Gigi since she was 13. Today is the first time she's ever met him. Gigi, describe first, if you would, what happens at your concerts.
Well, first of all, rock and roll music to me, it's always been about real rebellion and nonconformity. And my mission is to put danger back into rock and roll, something that's been missing for a real long time. And I use my rock and roll as a weapon against society, the government, and the industry itself, who is trying to confine this type of music. And they're trying to preach to you. Rock and roll is not about what you look like, who you hang out with, how much money you make, what kind of car you drive. Rock and roll is the fury from within you. Rock and roll is revenge. Rock and roll is your enemy, and I'm your enemy.
And what do you do at your concerts?
I do whatever it takes. If somebody's in my way, I'll take them out. You know, they're my enemy. I don't look at them. They're not my friend.
Okay.
What was left at the end, that maybe I'll take them on as allies because they were strong enough to be there.
Okay, but the audience is sitting out here, and you're up on stage. What do you do on stage?
I might go out and kick somebody in the head. I might grab a girl and force her to perform oral sex with me. I've had sex on stage with men, women, and animals, and everything in between. See, the thing of it is, in rock and roll, there can be no limits or.
All right, so remember, even though this guy's really extreme, yes, Kurt Cobain took inspiration from him too, but not in the very extreme, awful ways that he was.
No laws, because when you start drawing laws and limits, then you might as well not even call it rock and roll anymore.
Well, let's not call it.
Oh, well, let's not call it rock and roll.
It's not rock and roll. There's nothing to do with rock and roll.
Isn't
it true that you're just going on stage?
No, that's your opinion. You're part of the society that I despise. You're part of the people that say we should listen to this, we should watch MTV, we should be force-fed. Parents in this country they're keeping their kids, they're sheltering their kids, they're censoring their kids, telling their kids to stay away from what's really going on in the real world. Those are the very people who are getting raped and killed because they don't know how to handle tragedy because they're never put in front of a tragic situation. And when they come to my show, I'm going to give them the hard lesson of life. If you get raped at my show, you're probably better off for it.
Obviously, that I do not agree with, and obviously Kurt Cobain would not, but this guy was more extreme than we would ever accept, really.
You said, way to go. Stand up. You think it's a great idea that he rapes people at his concert?
That's not a great idea, but
I'm going to teach you a lesson.
I'm going to fucking go through that. Skip through that just a sec.
No, I'll put a gun to your head and I'll take it because I ain't got the time to wait.
What is it? All right. Well, okay. What is it, Liz, that you find attractive in this man?
Allin's last bloodshed and
Anything that I say.
And why is that? Why do they do anything you say?
Because I'm the king, and they can identify with me because the real true nonconformist children in this country are sick and tired of their parents, their schools, their people force-feeding them what to do. I am the answer. When they listen to my lyrics and they listen to my songs, they're listening to the way that it really should be, and you know that, and I know that, so don't brain, because your kids are my kids.
All right, I don't mean any disrespect here. I had never heard of you before we were going to do this show, okay? And I did a lot of reading about you, all right? Now, I want to know, is this, you seriously mean what you're saying?
Absolutely.
This is not an act.
I've been doing this ever since I was a child. This is what you see is what you get. I do this when I wake up tomorrow morning. I'll still smell the same way. I'll still look the same way. This is not a show. This is not an act. I am that guy.
Now, do you honestly believe that you're a charismatic figure?
I believe that I am the king. I am the Messiah. I rule the rock and roll underground. I'm bringing us to a revolution against the government, against the police, against any form of society that is trying to put us down and restrict us in any way, shape, or manner. You cannot conform. You must be a true non-conformist. To hell with what your parents have to say.
Okay.
I am the man. Okay. All you have to do is listen to what I have to say.
Okay, well, who told you you were the Messiah?
I said I was. And I am because these kids, I get letters from all over the world. People worship me. They come to my shows. I'm going to rape the girl. I might rape the guy. I might have sex. I want it all. I I want it all, and I'm going to have it all.
Okay.
Again, I did not condone that. Neither does Kurt Cobain or anybody else here.
And I am everything.
All right, yeah. You go way beyond sex, drugs, and rock and roll in your performances. You self-mutilate on
I
stage.
self-mutilate. I beat the out of my audience. If they're in my way, I take them out. I don't care. I don't care about anybody or anything. When you come to my show, I'm the boss. I'm the king. You do what I say. You can challenge me. I have no problem with that. I like the confrontation.
Yeah.
But you're going to lose.
All right. Are you proud of what you do?
Absolutely proud of it.
Why are you proud of what you do?
Because I am who I am, and I'm not a phony like everybody else out there. I am real. And how many of you can, at 35 years old, sleep with 16, 12, 13-year-olds? Come on, right now. Come on.
Skip through that.
Simmer down.
Come on down.
Simmer down.
We'll
simmer
see,
down.
won't we?
All right. It sounds like it sounds like you're real angry.
I've been angry since the day one. I knew the day I was born.
Why are you so angry?
I just hate everybody. There's no need for me to like everything that I have in this world. I put back into number one. I am number one. I don't need to give anything to anybody.
You don't need to give anything back.
I don't need to give anything back. I take it all.
All right. Do you know why you have so much hatred?
I have so much hatred because these robots, these conformists, these people that dress in their uniforms, and I'm sick and tired of it.
What are you wearing? What is
This
that?
is not a uniform.
That's not a
Okay,
uniform?
You can say it's a uniform. I can say that's a uniform.
So I got a
But
uniform, you don't have a
This is
uniform.
what I wear every day. If you see me tomorrow anywhere in Manhattan, you'll see me wearing this, and probably a whole lot less because you people wouldn't let me take my clothes off. I'd rather be out here naked.
This was a good decision.
It does not matter.
All right. Yeah.
This is real, and I think it's very important that people know that their kids are my kids, and I'm going to teach them, and you can't have them back.
You repeated yourself on that.
Well, I'll repeat it again.
All right.
Get it right.
I want to get no information. We have limited time here. Do you care about anything?
I don't care about anything but myself, and what I write and what I do is law.
How many times have you been in jail?
I've been in jail. I've been arrested over 52 times. I spent 3 years in prison.
What's your ultimate idea of a performance, of a fantasy performance?
It's not a fantasy performance, Jane. Come on, everything I do is real. It comes out of my head.
Well,
I live this life every day. When I'm on stage, it's my therapy. It's not a performance. It's a ritual. And the ultimate performance would be when I have reached my peak, and I'm not there yet. So don't y'all clap when I say this. I'll commit suicide, but I'll take your kids with me.
What does that mean? You'll take our kids with you?
Whatever I just said, I'll take them with me.
Well, what's it mean?
And I'll kill them too, if I have to. Or they may kill themselves. When you reach your peak, it's time to die.
And when do you think your peak's going to
Whenever the battle is over, whenever you have lost the power to fight. When you have got the power to fight, you fight. When you lose the power, you kill yourself or I'll kill you.
Are you a happy person?
I'm beautiful.
He's happy. All right, let me just. All right, how many of you? We have some of your fans in the audience. Identify yourselves here. Anybody? Yeah, I didn't want to guess. Okay, stand up for me.
Or they may kill themselves. When you reach your peak, it's time to die.
And when do you think your peak's going to be?
Whenever the battle is over, whenever you have lost the power to fight. When you have got the power to fight, you fight. When you lose the power, you kill yourself or I'll kill you.
Are you a happy person?
But I never fucking cried war. When I say I'm gonna fucking kill myself on October 31st, 1990, I'm gonna fucking do it. And no goddamn bullshit Boston newspaper is gonna fucking tell me that I'm crying war when I'm fucking dead.
1990, the same year that movie came out. Pump Up the Volume with Kristen Slater and Gigi Allen.
Fucking newspaper is full of fucking shit. Turn with it, baby.
All right. And now we are going to go to Gigi Allen announcing his suicide plan again, if we can.
Fucking well, at 1990, October 31st, I will fucking commit suicide. And then we'll see who the real fucking men are, won't we? Will it be 2000? I fucking doubt it. Will it be anybody else who's maybe a little fucking different? You know? I fucking doubt it. And you know what pisses me off even more? It's fucking how anybody here tonight can see me in a fucking city that I moved to. and you guys fucking suck. So I'm here to tell you, I declare war on the fucking underground. And you will find out about it very fucking soon.
Yep.
And the next issue, a few things that you might read. I don't know if they'll put it in, but I declare war on the fucking underground. I'm not into the skinheads. I'm not into the niggers. I'm not into anyone else's needs.
Right, we're not into the skinheads. We're not into the political junkies. We're not into any of those fucking scenes. We're in for you being an individual and standing up for yourself and not being controlled by anybody but yourself.
I don't want to do that, okay? But I got the G.G. Allin method. Say everybody that believes in me, kill every motherfucker. One person to like do it in the fucking name of G.G. Allin. Because I will fucking kill myself. So you gotta fucking do it. That's the first I ever said that.
G.G. Allin will kill himself, so you should do it for him. Anyway, I know Kurt Cobain didn't commit suicide. When I thought that he did in 2013, I got obsessed and I fantasized with suicide ever since. Before, I thought about suicide when I was 11 years old all the way up, but I never put any entertainment value to it, any kind of good feeling to it. Or, and that's fucked up to say. But when the media glamorized it, and I was really into looking into it, and once I found out he was dead as an adult, I knew that as a baby, but I didn't register who it was. It just changed my life, and I've never been the same. And I've attempted suicide over it. I have brain damage because of attempting suicide over this. The night I spoke with Hank Harrison, that's why I keep bringing it up. That was a really marking point in my life. And I don't know. I fantasized of suicide once I thought that Kurt Cobain did. And for some reason, that stuck with me. That I thought of suicide before since I was 11 all the way up. But for some reason, when it was Kurt Cobain and the media and how they reported it and his music videos and looking back on his interviews and everything and photos, it made me glamorize suicide in a way in which I thought that it was something that was rebellious and punk rock to do. You know, nobody else is, and I'm going to do it. Everybody else is conforming. I'm going to fucking stick out and fucking pop the fuck out of here. Go way beyond this fucking planet. And we have to. If we're going to be like everybody else, we're not going to. I mean, if you're going to be like everybody else, you're going to live, yeah, but you're going to be stuck in a boring house doing boring things, listening to a boring government that wants to kill you and your family and me and my family. But if you go above and beyond, we get thrown into jail. So it's like they give us no choice but to transition. I hope you follow me. So you can't stand up for yourself in the world and your family and your town in a way in which would actually fucking change shit unless you're willing to die after or during. So we're supposed to put up with words and bullshit and court and drama and all that crap. We're not supposed to change things. We're supposed to make money in dealing with these things and not actually dealing with them. Anyway, here we go back to G.G. Allin, one of the people that Kurt Cobain visited in prison that was planning to commit suicide on stage, but died shortly after that from a heroin overdose. I don't care. I'm not going to limit myself Okay, I will start to be more professional and not swear or say things like brown, just like Chris Todd, if anything happens and this video is not able to be seen or whatever. But here we go. Oh, 2 people fucking left. Okay, here we go back to GGL.
There are a couple of things you should know about, but a drug overdose is suspected. What follows? Mark. The next day, Gigi Allin was found dead. A police investigation is underway into the cause of his death, but a drug overdose is suspected. What follows is Gigi Allin's last interview. Parental discretion is strongly advised. This rock musician says he has more power over your children than you do. Gigi.
Had such a fierce, intense fire burning inside of me. It just was so much that just wants to explode.
Gigi Allin brags he's on his way to becoming the leader, the messiah for America's youth. He already claims to have 1 million followers. Wherever he goes, he plays to sell out crowds. And this is what they see. Concerts filled with violence, bloodshed, and sexual assault. Gigi Allin wants to lead America's young people in a bloody revolution to take over the country. And he says nothing can be done to stop him. Why is that, Gigi?
Nobody will stop me because I am the true underground messiah. When you come to my show, you're going to a war. And I'm out for violence, chaos, lawlessness all the way. I don't care about anybody or anything except for myself and my mission. And your kids out there, if you got kids out there, they're going to be my kids. I'm going to own those kids. They're going to do anything that I say.
And why is that? Why do they do anything you say?
Because I'm the king, and they can identify with me because the real true nonconformist children in this country are sick and tired of their parents, their schools, their people force-feeding them what to do. I am the answer. When they listen to my lyrics and they listen to my songs, they're listening to the way that it really should be, and you know that, and I know that, so don't brain, because your kids are my kids.
All right, I don't mean any disrespect here. I had never heard of you before we were going to do this show, okay? And I did a lot of reading about you, all right? Now, I want to know, is this, you seriously mean what you're saying?
Absolutely.
This is not an
I've
act.
been doing this ever since I was a child. This is what you see is what you get. I do this, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'll still smell the same way, I'll still look the same way. This is not a show, this is not an act. I am that guy.
Now, do you honestly believe
Yes.
that you're a charismatic figure?
I believe that I am the king. I am the messiah. I rule the rock and roll underground. I'm bringing us to a revolution against the government, against the police, against any form of society that is trying to put us down and restrict us in any way, shape, or manner. You cannot conform. You must be a true nonconformist. To hell with what your parents have to say.
Okay.
I am the man.
Okay.
That all you have to do is listen to what I have to say.
Okay, well, who told you were the messiah?
I said I was. And I am because these kids, I get letters from all over the world. People worship me. They come to my shows. I'm going to rape the girls. I might rape the guys. I might have sex. I want it all. I want it all, and I'm going to have it all.
Okay, let me
Because I am everything.
All right, yeah.
By the way, I don't approve of that. Neither does Kurt or us.
You go way beyond sex, drugs, and rock and roll in your performances. You self-mutilate on stage.
I self-mutilate. I beat the out of my audience if they're in my way. I take them out. I don't care. I don't care about anybody or anything. When you come to my show, I'm the boss. I'm the king. You do what I say. You can challenge me. I have no problem with that. I like the confrontation.
Yeah.
But you're going to lose.
All right. Are you proud of what you do?
Absolutely proud of what I do.
Why are you proud of what you do?
Because I am who I am, and I'm not a phony like everybody else out there. I am real. And how many of you can, at 35 years old, sleep with 16, 12, 13 years?
You're skipping that again.
Hold on, right now. Come on.
All right, simmer down.
Come on down.
Simmer down.
We'll
simmer
see,
down.
won't we?
All right. It sounds like you're real angry.
I've been angry since the day one. I knew the day
well,
I was born.
Why are you so angry?
I just hate everybody. There's no need for me to like everybody. Everything that I have in this world, I put back into number one. I am number one. I don't need to give anything to anybody.
You don't need to give anything back.
I don't need to give anything back. I take it all.
All right. Do you know why you have so much hatred?
I have so much hatred because I look at these people, these robots, these conformists, these people that dress in their uniforms, and I'm sick and tired of it.
What are you wearing? What is that?
This is not a uniform
That's
for
not
me.
a uniform?
You could say it's a uniform. I could say that's a
So
uniform.
I got a uniform, you don't have a
This is what I wear every day. If you see me tomorrow anywhere in Manhattan, you'll see me wearing this, and probably a whole lot less because you people wouldn't let me take my clothes off. I'd rather be out here naked.
This is a good decision.
It does not matter.
All right. Yeah.
This is real, and it's very important that people know that their kids are my kids, and I'm going to teach them, and you can't have them back.
You've repeated yourself on that.
Well, I'll
one, okay?
repeat it again
All
until
right.
you get it right.
I want to get new information. We have limited time here. Do you
What do
care?
you want?
Do you care about anything?
I don't care about anything but myself, and what I write and what I do is law.
How many times have you been in jail?
I've been in jail. I've been arrested over 52 times. I spent 3 years in prison.
All right, and now we're going to another one because we have already repeated that one. So take your Xanax and pass it really soon, people.
Rolling and we can't test it, so just gonna. How was your trip down? Everything right? You taking plane or?
And here we go. This is April of 1993, the month and year that I was born. Gigi Allin with Merle Allin on Destroy TV.
The band, the Murder Junkies, and we're out for revenge, and we're out to put danger back on the road and use our rock and roll as a weapon against society, the government, the industry, and anything that stands in our way.
We basically started playing with Gigi probably a couple of years ago as the Murder Junkies, and we've been with him ever since. We just finished recording a brand new album, and we'll be touring the middle of May until around the middle of June, all around the country.
Well, I mean, we're based.
Are you here? Hello? Allison, are you here? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna just play the video. Here we go. This is Courtney Love with Barbara Walters' interview from 1995. Knowing what we know with what Joe said, now let's listen to this. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. No. We're going to Joe Burns. And with Matthew Ricker, I can actually play this because it was Matthew and Lennon that coordinated this. It wasn't Michelle and Lisa that are trying to take it over. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Joseph Burns, and I was there at the house on Green Lake when Kurt Cobain was murdered. With my girlfriend Bonnie Dillard, Callie DeWitt, Jennifer Adamson, and other characters that showed up, Joan Carlson, and we were 4 other people, and
Okay, you just said 3 or 4 other people. Did you hear that, Allison? Let's go over that again. Unlike Kurt Cobain, Who Killed Kurt have done. You know what? Who Killed Kurt? You know what videos they should be doing rather than just talking about people's drama? They should be going over videos of Joe Burns and looking over what he said with their audience.
and Carlson,
That's more important.
and we were 4 other people,
3 or 4 other people.
and here's basically what happened. Me, Callie DeWitt, Jennifer Anderson, and Bonnie Dillard were there for multiple days, hanging out, listening to records. I was doing tattoo work on Callie.
So they were there for multiple days. So that doesn't mean that Kurt returned and was there for 3 days or 2 days. That means they were there for multiple days before Kurt came back, doing tattoo work and stuff.
And just basically having a good time, and then after being there for a few days, I went to the kitchen to grab something.
So after being there for a few days, him with the other people, suddenly, after being there for a few days, suddenly Kurt Cobain shows up in the kitchen when he comes down to the kitchen and sees him. So it's not that Kurt Cobain was there for a few days. It was that Joe and Bonnie and the rest of whoever else was there for a few days. And then he came down to the kitchen and seen Kurt. Kurt wasn't there for 3 or 2 days at this point, at least. It was Joe and Bonnie and the rest of them that were. And then Joe went downstairs to the kitchen and seen Kurt. Here we go.
Thing, and Kurt was there. We talked a little bit, and he explained what was going on, that he had left.
And by the way, Joe told me personally that he talked to Joe about leaving Courtney that night. Night.
His treatment place in California. He had been hiding out. I say hiding out because he's trying to avoid his wife, Courtney Love, from her or.
And so he would have also told him, I'm not just wanting to leave her and get away from her. I'm trying to avoid her and people that she's sending to find me and locate me and possibly hurt me.
Well, basically people she had hired to find him, and basically.
And by the way, Joe himself has said to me that if Tom Grant was there that night, and you cannot believe that all you want, but your idol, Kurt Cobain, was literally hiding from people that Courtney Love was hiring to find him at the moment that he was murdered. So think about that.
He was saying that he was trying to negotiate a new contract.
I get it. I lost a person. You might not want to think about that. I get it. Once you are traumatized with something and you think it's a certain way and you believe it and you go on with life, you just want to keep it like that. Doesn't mean it's true, though.
Therefore, not necessarily Nirvana, but for himself. But he was trying to get the contract for himself, basically whatever he did, that he was trying to get that put out. Whatever project he did, he was negotiating for that. We just casually talked a little bit, nothing important, and then he.
Well, it's important to us and all the suicide victims.
Yeah, he grabbed some things to eat and some water.
He said some water. He didn't say root beer.
Fruit. And, Marie Callender's TV dinner, like.
Or a root beer right there, but he said water originally.
Turkey with stuffing and mashed potatoes and some corn. Or chicken. Breaded chicken. And like some corn and mashed potatoes. And, he said he was just gonna go, Ashley had been hanging out for a little bit. We didn't even know he was there at first. He was just kind of hiding out, and so we both grabbed some things to drink and eat, and he went back to where he was had been hanging out for a little bit, and I went back to Galley's room and didn't even mention anything to anyone in the room, and went back to doing the tattoo work. Then after a little bit of time and whatnot, casually everyone figured out that Kurt was up there, but
and Lisa and Michelle, if you try to remove this live stream, it's going to look pretty weird since Little Lennon was talking to us and we were doing that speaking with her in the beginning of everything that went on with the autopsy, a report that was leaked by Uriel taking the photos of it, who you are covering for and wanting to blame Lennon for.
Just left him alone because he kind of just wanted to be left alone. And so we went about what we were doing. I was doing tattoo work on Kelly, and then each one of us, or at least me and Kelly, went and talked to Kurt, not upstairs, but just downstairs when he came down, like mostly in the kitchen. And he finally came down and talked to both me and Kelly in the kitchen, and he had a tape that he had recorded, and he gave it to Kelly and said it was him just jamming on just a basic recording that he had made with him playing multiple instruments. It was a basic 4-track recording, and he had told Kelly that he could put her down on his little record label he was talking about doing, he was gonna sign like just some local pop rock bands, put her down on this little label that he had, and he told him he could change the name on this tape and put it out on his label, this 4-track recording. And Dylan had showed up with another person. It seems like there was one person with her, and then I think 2 people had shown up with them, just with not in any car, just they apparently
2 people, so it was from 3 to 4 to 2 people. Dylan, Tom, somebody else, maybe.
dropped off, I think, at the end of the driveway or something, and because there was no place for a car to park except in the driveway or in front of the house, but there was no one parked there, and so they were there. Just, I think they got dropped off on the street maybe, and just walked down the driveway. Well, before that, we were talking, saying that there could be some people looking around like private eyes, some people that Courtney had hired, and people that she just had gotten a hold of, and she had them come over looking for Kurt. The people that were looking for him that Courtney had hired were just
Tom Grant. And again, remember, Kurt Cobain was hiding from Tom Grant, the private investigator, and any other like Ernie Barth at the time, before and right at and during and after he was murdered.
Basically,
well, before,
obviously, a lot of people had just shown up and like looking around, trying to be sneaky and looking all around the house, trying not to alert us too much, but trying to check different places. That's why Kurt was being real.
So he was checking out the house. Kurt was in the house looking around through windows and checking things, trying not to be too obvious to the people in the house that something was coming up, that something was up at the moment.
like just like careful, like really actually completely sneaking around and trying to go when he was hiding out at, literally not trying to be seen.
And so even before leaving the house, he was trying to look outside and see if it was okay for him to go back up to the greenhouse. Because if anyone came to the house, they would find him in there. They wouldn't check the greenhouse, most likely. The garage, who would?
By any of these people. And but Demo did come through the door almost hard, and that's when he was trying to get Kurt with this other guy to go back upstairs with them. Dylan got Kurt.
Well, just a sec. Let's fast forward.
When he was trying to get Kurt with come through the door almost hard, and that's when he was trying to get Kurt with this other guy to go back upstairs with them.
It would have been Tom, because it was Dylan that came in the kitchen, and Joe saying that. Who was Dylan with the entire time? It was Tom.
Dylan got Kurt to go upstairs with this other guy that left.
And remember, Joe even said to me in messages that it was Tom was there that night. And if Tom Grant's blonde woman wants to come on here and say, show it, say it again, and you'll see it tomorrow.
Last time he had come down, he was like totally out of it. And really, I didn't even talk to Callie. He had already been down there and talked to Dylan, and they were.
It's all the same players since 1994 and right to now. Callie, Tom, Courtney, Renee, Joe, Bonnie. It's all the same people. It's not changing since 1994. Why? Because this is what happened. And these are the people involved.
Trying to get
and around.
Kurt to go back up stairs. Dylan was having a little bit of a hard time with this other guy trying to get Kurt to go upstairs, like back to the room. And
well, I would too. Tom doesn't seem like the most approachable, nice, get along kind of person.
And at the same time, Callie was telling me that we all need to get out of there, and that Kurt would be fine. Cook didn't want to go up back up anywhere with Dylan.
No, I wouldn't, especially if the random guy that looks like you're already sketched out about Dylan, and now he comes out with a random person that you don't know. Why do you want to go up somewhere with him and the random person? If you were buying weed from someone and your friend that you're having a fight with came and some random guy came and they want you to go somewhere secretive with them, are you going to go there? Or are you going to feel a little weirded out? Especially after you've been looking through your house to see if, through the window to see if anybody is after you, because you're told that they are. He was in a paranoid position right then, Kurt was.
But they just, they got him to go back upstairs with them. Dylan something.
Unfortunately, they convinced him, or they did something to him, and Joe's leaving that out, and they got him back up there and then set up the crime scene. Or he was brought up there and hurt there, and then I don't know. We have to really get clarification. And honestly, I could get it. I could break this case, But we need money because Joe doesn't really want to say anything unless he's getting help.
Doing it like just outright, you know, but the other guy is like falling back until he decides, fuck it, until, you know, they.
And I wish he'd just say everything because there's people that would take more action than him.
He needs to do this and just do it or whatever, you know, and quit talking and just kind of use the body to and kind of push, you know, or whatever. He is basically herbed that way, you know, like past the doorway of it, you know, all like working on getting her up into the greenhouse, and then you got Kelly on me all of a sudden, trying to
And who was Tom talking to? Callie. And communicating with and agreeing with Callie. It all links up. Even to what Joe told me about Tom being there the night Kurt died. And Danny.
saying there's a bunch of reasons why it might be good to take off from there, as Gillen's trying to
And Danny.
coerce
And
Kurt,
Danny.
and trying to, you know, like physically I'm trying to push him up that way. I got Callie trying to talk to me or whatever, you know, about like taking off, you know. We should get out of there. And I'm thinking really that I shouldn't. I didn't feel like I should take off. You know. I was trying to go with those guys. Well, with Dylan and Kurt. But that's not working out so good, you know. Kurt's getting fast talk, you know. And it seems like when they do start getting them up the stairs, that the guy started to give Dylan a hand to get him up the stairs. You know what I mean?
All right, so they did something to Kurt, and then another person needed to come to help get Kurt's body up there.
Fucked up when he came back down, you know. Didn't need to go back up there if they're trying to get him to go do another hit of dope. There was no need for that.
So I remember this is split because that's what Michelle and Lisa did. They organized this interview in weird ways. So he was likely told, let's go to the greenhouse and do more heroin. He likely refused and said, no, I don't want to go with you people. He's hesitant in denying wanting to go with them. He doesn't want to go with them, as Joe was saying before in the beginning of this interview, which should be further in this interview, actually. But this is all split, and Matthew's voice is edited out as well, but that's not the only edits that's done to this.
You know, and it's like, you know, I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? Yeah, definitely.
Literally, a cover-up is happening within a cover-up.
It doesn't need to fucking do any more dope, you know. It's like.
But we're going to get through this, and we're going to understand in this exact timeline what happened.
Fucking, they had a premeditated game plan. You know what I mean? There was a point there. I mean, well, I felt like I should have done something, but it's like, you know, like, and at the same time,
Like when he was getting attacked, because if Kurt was walking up to the greenhouse, I mean, willingly, then you wouldn't think to do anything. If Kurt was getting attacked, then you would think to do something. Right, Allison?
Bonnie shows up with Callie and came out of the room, and I walked down the driveway part to the left, away from the garage. She's trying to get us to go right, and I'm down to go, but I want to go. I want to find out, I guess, what the fuck is going on with fucking Dylan, and basically I'm gonna find out what's going on or whatever, you know, and Bonnie doesn't. She wants me to get the car, and she wants to get out of there, and so Callie's right before that, you know, he walked away or whatever, and then it was just me and Bonnie for a second, you know. We heard, because me and Bonnie were together, you know, talking out the driveway when the gunshot happened. We were out in the driveway, and we're right by the driveway, you know. We shot a lot of guns and stuff, and it wasn't just like a regular gunshot from a pistol or a rifle. It was not as loud as a.
No hunting for Wi-Fi, no hassling with local SIM cards. Full of fly. Peace of mind, always.
As a,
just like Who Killed Kurt needed to make some more money.
As a regular gunshot. We just she wanted to get out of there, and we finally left there late that night. Because we finally Jen and Kelly came with. We did leave and went all the way to Jen's house. Was with.
And so just think about this. It's not Joe or Kurt that's making any money from Who Killed Kurt and everything that they're putting out that they got from other people that they're not working with anymore. It's Michelle and Lisa and Oriole that are getting money. Not Joe, not Kurt, not the people you actually care about.
Ellie and Jen. And we
hey, I'm Ron.
Crashed out, you know, and I did. Hey. She kind of went spiraling.
Joe is up right now.
The heroin use got really bad after that, and I got the fuck out of there, just like Callie was saying that we should all do. But I think I'm the only one that really got the fuck out of there. It seems like those other people just got with Courtney, and it sounds like they all just got taken care of by Courtney. I thought, you know, when you have police or whatever, they're gonna be up in everyone's business, you know. But they did not do that at all. They stayed away from people, or you know what I mean. They were just in and out. It just hurts my head thinking about it. Kelly was actively trying to, you know, get some people out of the house, you know, me and Bonnie, anybody that could be could talk to the cops or whatever, you know, be a witness. to what was going on. And Kelly was straight up telling me, we only need to get out of here, take off to like far away, you know what I mean? Like at least a couple states away. Oh my God. It's just hard to do some of this here. You know, you have these friends you grow up with, and you totally know something about them. Shit. Dylan's really smart.
All right. So we're gonna go with that. And back to True Psych Wars video on the night Kurt died.
Please don't forget. Caitlin becomes an important person in this investigation because she's claimed to have been with Kurt during the days that he was in Seattle. According to Courtney Love's father, Hank Harrison, he did an investigation of his own and published it in a book called Love Kills. As part of his research, Hank interviewed multiple people who were close to the Cobains during this time. One of the people he interviewed is Caitlin Moore. Since Caitlin was never interviewed by police, this is the best that we have in terms of putting together a timeline and reconstruct Kurt Cobain's movement during the last days of his life. Saturday, March 26th, 1 a.m. in the morning. Kurt nods off at Caitlin's apartment on Benny Way. Caitlin left the apartment and went to Comet Bar. When she returned at around 2 a.m., she finds Kurt still in the same position on her sofa. She finds about 6 condescending messages on her answering machine from Courtney, asking about Kurt and commanding basically that he get on an airplane and fly out to Los Angeles. Caitlin calls Courtney back and promises her that she will kick Kurt out first thing in the morning. Caitlin said she woke up at around 11 a.m. Saturday morning, and true to her word, she kicked Kurt out. Kurt wasn't happy about that. He tried to tell her that he's been receiving.
That could have been different heroin. And she was really jealous of her, just like with Kristen Paff that died about 2 months or 4 months after. I think that would have been different heroin. That was a different dealer because they already had the syringe ready and prepared, remember, with duct tape around it in the home.
Death threats. Caitlin assumes he's making up a story to
And they've already set her up, we know that, by even including her box, the Tom Moore box there. Caitlin Moore.
Sympathy.
That was her box.
He asks her again to stay at the apartment, but Caitlin, fearing Courtney's wrath, says no. Caitlin told Harrison that Kurt did not want to go back to the Lake Washington house. She offered to give him a ride wherever he needed to go, but he declined and just left. Meanwhile, Courtney is in a phone frenzy, calling everybody across the entire country. That's one thing that is consistent across all accounts. Back at the Cobain residence, Callie is alone with one of his girlfriends, Jessica Hopper. Jessica was in town from Minnesota.
Not that we know of, no. Not that anyone knows of.
She was 15 years old at the time.
Callie was 20. During this time, Callie said he had a
Okay, what matters more is the fact that Kurt Cobain got shot with a shotgun in his head and taken away from his daughter that he loved so very much. Fuck the people around him.
$400 to $500 a day drug habit. He said he would bounce back and forth between the Lake Washington house and his other girlfriend's house, Jennifer Adamson.
Yeah, that's probably actually from her, and I think that I read it in a book before, like in 2014.
Jennifer was also a teenager in
He nodded out at 1 a.m. on her couch.
high school. Unlike Jessica Hopper, Jennifer also had a drug habit. As a matter of fact, Callie reports that she was selling it. So he would spend a lot of time at her apartment as well. Since tensions were so high and Kurt refused to communicate with Courtney, she began to use methods to try to
So he's hiding out. He's literally sleeping on her couch. He's literally hiding out and away from Courtney, like literally trying to hide from somebody.
control Kurt and the people around them. She phoned Callie and Renee Navarrete, who were her two live-in male nannies, every hour at least. Callie said that his drug habit had gotten so bad at this point that he asked for Jackie Ferry to be sent to Seattle to pick up Francis. Kurt, hoping to avoid another tongue lashing, probably ignored her rap until she threatened to do something diabolical. My bet.
Right, because he was hiding from her really legit scared like that, like hiding on a couch, nodding off at 1 a.m., hiding from her and other people. If Francis was being threatened to be taken away from him, Courtney, her manipulative self, would have known that would have caused Kurt to come back to her.
Is she again threatened to take the baby away. Same thing happened to me 30 years earlier. This time, Kurt promised to fly to the Exodus clinic by Wednesday night, the 30th. That's when he bought the shotgun.
Did he? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know.
Kurt's flight to Los Angeles.
Oh, but let's talk about Richard Lee. He went to that same gun shop, and he said the people there that were there when Kurt apparently was did not see Kurt. And one of the people working at that gun shop says he was a really big Nirvana fan. And it was a one-room gun shop. He did not recognize or see Kurt Cobain there at all.
This was a
and remember what Danny said. Kurt didn't know there was a gun. Richard Lee went there, and the receipt isn't even from that fucking store.
Originally scheduled for March 29th. Chris volunteered to take him to the airport. Kurt drove his Valant to Chris's and left it parked with a for sale sign in the window. Tom Grant and Dylan Carlson would later find the car parked in the same spot while trying to find Kurt. On the way to the airport, Kurt and Chris began to argue. It is reported that Kurt attempted to jump out of the moving car, presumably because he was telling Chris that he didn't want to go to treatment.
Your junkie wife wants you to not be a junkie, and we got to make money, so you have to do more work even though you're exhausted.
And demanded to be let out. When they finally arrived at the airport, the confrontation between the friends became physical. Despite Chris' physical advantage over his opponent, Kurt managed to escape. He charged to the exit, screaming, "Fuck you," or something to that effect.
And don't forget, Kurt is the main person of the band and the person that has to sing and put more energy into everything. If you're playing the bass, you're just standing there. But
Shelley, Chris' wife at the time, says, Chris drove back to Seattle alone, sobbing. He had such a huge amount of love for Kurt. We both did. He was family to us. I'd known him for almost half his life. According to Cross, Kurt made several phone calls on this night, few to a psychiatrist, and at least one to Rosemary Carroll, his attorney. Carroll told him he had options.
And those options were 1, you don't have to stay in Nirvana. 2, you don't have to stay in the relationship with Courtney. 3, you need to get clean.
And she ultimately convinced him to go to Exodus.
Yeah, and that was the same month that they knew, Lollapalooza, like they knew it was coming up, that they attempted the first attempt on Kurt's life like about 2 months prior, or a month prior.
And his flight was changed to March 30th.
By the way, if you haven't recognized it, there's a compilation photo of Kurt Cobain on my YouTube channel that I posted recently, and there's a ticket there from April 4th, 1994, where Nirvana was supposed to perform. So knowing that now, I don't think the killers would have let him live to the 4th. I think they would have killed him on the 3rd, just like Tom Grant, who was there, says. Joe Burns told me himself, Tom Grant was there that night that Kurt was murdered. And Tom Grant Daniel Clint Rich even said that to me, and said that the timeline has been altered in the Cobain case study manual.
Courtney also claims that she spoke with Kurt on this night. He told her, no matter what, just know that you recorded a great album.
That's bullshit. And anyway, in the police report, Dylan and this other person, Tom, in the police report, entered through the kitchen. In Joe's testimony, it was Dylan and Tom and possibly another person that entered through the kitchen. And I know that from Joe that Tom was there.
Using logic and the data we have so far, we can infer that Kurt's state of mind during this time was angry, distrustful.
Yeah, exactly. And like the last video of him, he said he was doing that while he was smoking a cigarette behind backstage with the band.
And feeling betrayed. His rage was triggered at those who refused to hear him out.
It could have just been that he was going to do Lollapalooza, but he wanted to divorce Courtney and take the money, which is true because we know that stuff. And Courtney wouldn't want that. Regardless of Lollapalooza at all.
Continued to constrict him of his freedom. For example, Kurt's conflicts were limited to specific individuals, whereas others...
But obviously it would piss her off if he's not going to take that money and she can't have any chunk of that, and he's going to divorce her.
Like his attorney, are at odds completely with the reports that he was losing it. This is consistent with Kurt coming to resolve. Those who felt angry with are those who are being fired by Kurt. He was going on to do his own thing. In case you needed more evidence that Kurt was simply done and ready to move on with his life, Dylan's statements about Kurt's state of mind when they went to purchase the shotgun are further demonstration of this.
I'm not even going to go through that. The receipt isn't even clear. The person there was a huge Nirvana fan that worked there in the one-room gun shop and said that Kurt was not there. These people are criminals and liars and scumbags and heroin addicts.
Flags. Kill Lynn Hirschberg's dog.
From reading Vanity Fair, you probably think I swig Jack Daniels first thing in the morning after I smoke my crack and then don't see my daughter for 10 days.
No, you smoke your crack, then do that, then smoke your crack. Some a little more.
I believe Dylan was oblivious to the extent of the trouble.
You believe that, but now we don't because we have the eyewitness coming forward 3 years later.
By a driver. When they arrived to the airport, Kurt realized he forgot to take the shells out of his bag.
Okay, more bullshit. Let's skip through that.
He was also seen by a psychiatrist who prescribed Kurt's Subutex. Despite having been evaluated by numerous clinical staff, none have found him to be suicidal. Gibby Haynes, a friend of Kurt's.
And they bought Dylan bought the bullets after Kurt was back. They didn't have that yet. There wasn't bullets before. But let's believe a bunch of heroin addicts for 30 years.
Said Kurt looked a little bit under the weather. Just tired of being sick and tired. Can you blame him? Kurt attended a Cocaine Anonymous meeting with Gibby that evening. In the morning, Kurt attends a group session, an individual counseling session, a pharmacological evaluation, and all in all, spent a good chunk of the morning doing treatment stuff.
Again, so it's an excuse. That's why they had to buy more bullets. That's why they had to buy bullets. They didn't buy bullets, lose them or forget them, and have to buy more and do a false phony story to buy more bullets. They just bought more bullets when he came back.
He attended another 12-step meeting in the morning, and Kurt's counselor at Exodus was a guy named Neil Stimson. This is what he had to say. I asked him if he understood the seriousness of this Italy thing. Man, you almost died. You have to take this seriously. Your drug abuse has gotten you where you almost lost your life. Do you get how serious this is? Kurt responded, I understand. I just want to get cleaned up and out of here. In his sessions, Stimson says Kurt rarely mentioned his battles with Courtney. Instead, he was worried of potentially losing a lawsuit with original Heart-Shaped Box video director Kevin Kay. Was what scared him the most.
They weren't in the autopsy.
Kevin Kay had filed
I'm taking Suboxone too.
The suit on March 9th, claiming he, not Kurt, had come up with many of the ideas in the video. Kurt told his counselor he had thought about almost nothing else since KK's suit had been filed, and he worried the case would wipe him out financially. Quote, he told me his biggest fear was that if he lost the suit, he would lose his house. In the afternoon, Kurt hung out with Gibby again in the day room, reported to be in bright spirits and joking. Me and Kurt were laughing about what a dumbass a mutual acquaintance was for escaping over the wall. That evening, Kurt is visited by Nanny Jackie and Francis. The nanny confirms that Kurt was indeed given the medication for withdrawal, and Kurt complained to Jackie about battling Courtney over Lollapalooza.
He didn't want to do Lollapalooza, but that doesn't mean that's why he was killed. Because at the same time, he was divorcing Courtney and taking all the money in Francis.
April 1st, 1994, Friday. At 1:59 a.m., there's a credit card transaction stemming from Los Angeles for $0 from mail order. At 2:01 a.m., just minutes later, there's a $4,262.89 purchase that also took place in California, and that purchase was approved. While at the Peninsula Hotel, Courtney makes a purchase over the phone to an electronics retailer in northern.
Yeah, he didn't need to go. It was Courtney and her friends that did, but they were gaslighting him.
California. In an interview, Courtney Love shows off her brand new Macintosh that cost almost exactly the amount the card was charged.
And Courtney was getting his friends to gaslight him too.
I believe it's safe to say that this particular purchase was made by Courtney Love. At 3:33, Courtney wrote a check for $3,500 that was declined due to non-sufficient funds. A couple of seconds later, she wrote a $3,000 check, and that one was approved. From 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. approximately, Kurt is visited by Jackie Ferry and Francis Bean at Exodus.
Brought Francis to visit Kurt in rehab. He sounded amazing. He seemed amazing.
He was in this incredibly happy mood, which I just didn't get. I was thinking, God, for 1 second, maybe he really is for real this time. He was laying on it, saying all these incredibly complimentary things to me and being really positive. And that wasn't his deal, sitting around and trying to make the world look great. Usually he was kind of grumpy, but I just took it as a sign that it was a positive 24-hour turnaround. While Frances is visiting with Kurt.
Yeah, she's just a narcissist gaslighting, and she's doing the same thing to this day in year 2025.
Courtney is across the street from the Peninsula Hotel, making a purchase at Barney's for almost $800. What I found very interesting in Courtney's authorized biography, she claims she only found out on April 1st that Kurt pulled out of Lollapalooza. She says, the LA Times report that Nirvana was pulling out of Lollapalooza was the first time Courtney heard this. Amazingly, she didn't go ballistic. She knew that whatever happened now, Kurt would probably never tour again.
No, I think Lollapalooza was an excuse. She didn't care about that, really. She cared about him divorcing her. I mean, yeah, and possibly waiting at least. Hopefully he gets the money and then she can get it and then divorce him.
Yet again, making another statement that is final. The authors of the book Love and Death assert that Courtney made 2 phone calls to the rock shop from the Peninsula Hotel. And if you don't remember, the rock shop is where El Duce claimed that he met Courtney when she asked him to whack Kurt Cobain. She continued to frantically call everyone she could think of, trying to keep an eye on Kurt. She even called the treatment center multiple times, demanding to be put through, but Kurt declined those calls too. According to the biographers, Kurt was advised by his treatment team that he should not be in contact with Courtney. I'm not sure about that, though it's recommended to remove yourself from toxic relationships when you're trying to recover from a drug addiction. No one can really tell a patient not to communicate with their wife. So Courtney came up with another plan. She enlisted the help of her friend Joe Mama Nitzberg and Kurt's guitarist Pat Smear to go visit Kurt at Exodus. His visitors arrived at approximately 3 p.m. According to Cross, Courtney had sent Mama to Exodus with a letter for Kurt, along with some candy and a fanzine she thought he'd like.
And in that fanzine, she talked about Billy Corgan and how she liked him and everything, and it made Kurt mad and pissed off, but he wanted to divorce her anyway. It probably just made him more certain, yeah, this bitch is gone. She's getting out of my life.
Reported he didn't feel that bad.
No.
Kurt, Mama, and Pat Smear went to the back patio so Kurt could smoke some cigarettes. They chatted for almost an hour about mostly small talk. Kurt had always wanted to go to art school, and he told Joe that he was envious of that. Joe was left with the impression that Kurt was serene. Whatever had troubled him, he seems to have already made peace with it. Meanwhile, back in Seattle, if you remember, Callie's 15-year-old girlfriend and Callie himself are home alone at the Lake Washington house.
I think she's reading over all the books we basically read.
In addition to Jessica Hopper, there are multiple other accounts that confirm that Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love gave their nannies a credit card to use for everyday expenses. As mentioned previously, Callie DeWitt stated that he had a $400 to $500 heroin habit during this time. Well, on this day, we see another credit card attempt. This one takes place in Seattle, and the actual card is used.
Does anyone remember that 400 to 500 habit of heroin a day was referred to as Kurt Cobain's? Anyone would bring that up while speaking about Kurt Cobain? But apparently that was Callie.
There are 4 attempts to withdraw $300, and all 4 were declined due to non-sufficient funds. That means that the actual credit card was in possession of someone who was in Seattle. I deduced that that would be Callie. This means that the credit card that we assumed was Kurt Cobain's was actually in the possession of their nanny. Between 6:50 and 7:20, there are 6 declined attempts to charge the account for the Barney's purchase that took place earlier in the morning. In other words, a check was written at 11:12 for an almost $800 purchase, and later these 6 charges would be the sales associates attempting to put the check through, and each time it was declined because, as we've already established, there are no funds on this particular card. So while these charges might look confusing, a deeper dig into them simply reveals that Courtney was writing bad checks. Joe Mama Nitzberg and Pat Smear left Exodus around 5 p.m. The last call from the Peninsula Hotel to Exodus happened around 6 p.m. There were 13 missed calls from Courtney to the Exodus patient phone. At 7:23, Kurt made a phone call to Michael, the same guy who picked him up from the airport, but he was not available. At 7:25, Kurt walks away from Exodus for a second time. This is not unusual for addicts, but it's also not unusual for Kurt. Kurt has a history of going to treatment, getting the medication that he needs, and then leaving.
Hello?
Courtney says she was on the phone with drug dealers all over Los Angeles, driving around their houses looking for Kurt. It has also been reported that she attended a concert this night.
Kurt? Get him on the fucking phone!
Yeah, and Hank Harrison said she made sure that she was seen behind the stage at a Babes in Toyland's concert. But then there's many reports that her and one of the singers were actually from Babes in Toyland were there at the house that night too. And Courtney was seen in a vehicle about 2 days before his body was before Kurt's body was found in Seattle.
At 8:43 p.m., there's a charge.
And the plane, whatever, that theory came from Hank Harrison himself, Courtney Love's father.
For $478 on Kurt Cobain's American Express card that has never been entered or introduced into.
And I don't know if we have seen the
He also called Seattle Limousine and spoke with Steve Morgan, who arranged for Kurt to be picked up at around 1 o'clock in the morning the next day. At 8:47 p.m., the Peninsula Hotel got a message for Courtney. According to Tom Grant, it is believed that this was Kurt Cobain calling Courtney. However, Courtney Love's father does not agree with that.
So Courtney Love's father disagrees with Tom Grant, one of the people that was there the night Kurt was murdered that participated in that.
And a lot of things killed him, but that killed him too.
Linda Walker stated that she dropped him off at around 1:30 a.m. in front of his house.
If it goes in as a rumor, once somebody, I deny it, and I can deny it all the way to the bank, and actually people will believe me if I deny it, and they'll say, it never happened.
So far, we've established that Courtney,
Of course, because you're a celebrity.
and Kurt are basically done, and Courtney is enlisting the help of anyone she can think of to get her information about Kurt, but also to try to exert control over Kurt.
I mean, the people that are so unethical with the people that I had to do this, I paid.
On April 2nd, there are 4 credit card charges for Delta Airlines. These are often attributed to Kurt, but I believe they were made by Callie. Harrison claims Kurt came home pissed off and kicked Callie out of the house.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Courtney inadvertently.
That's where Chris Todd must get that from, because I do that even before Chris Todd said that.
Corroborates the story by saying that Mike, meaning Callie, was bad and that she had found hair and spoons in his room when he watched this child, and that Kurt was furious. He was firing Mike because he kept doing drugs. Kurt liked to take notes when he talked to someone, and I have a note where he wrote, it's pretty lengthy, it's all the reasons why Callie can't be our nanny anymore, because he's continuing to do drugs and yada, yada, yada. Out of desperation, she plants a story with a source at the Associated Press.
And he left, and I had come down to LA with the baby to support him, and our nanny to support him. And when he left, I got very depressed. had to be hospitalized for some sort of nervous breakdown. I could say that to them as a hospital worker.
Yes, Courtney, that sounds great. We'll say that.
That way there's no drugs involved. And, the sympathy goes to me, and
it's literally right in front of our faces.
Doesn't get in any trouble because it looks like he's not supposed to be in rehab in the first place. And he felt pressured, and so he jumped over the wall. All right. How's that first end? And it appeared that I attempted suicide.
We're listening to it happening to Kurt, the setup and the murder. But we're being made to perceive it in a different way with a different timeline.
According to Cross, Callie and Jessica were fighting about his drug use, and in a fit of rage, he suggested that she take an early flight home. Callie tried to use the $100,000 limit MasterCard Kurt had given him to buy her an airline ticket, but the charge was denied. He called Courtney to complain, and she told him that she'd canceled Kurt's cards, thinking this would help determine his whereabouts. Jessica Hopper said right around that time was when Courtney canceled all of Kurt's credit cards, and that included Callie's cards. So he couldn't get drugs, and he started to freak out. He was supposed to buy me a plane ticket home, and all of a sudden, he couldn't, and I was panicking. I had to call my dad and say, I can't tell you the situation, but it's really bad, and I have to get out of here, and I need $600 for a plane ticket the next.
So that was after she threw up in the parking lot, in the driveway, I mean. So Callie was still just focused on getting drunk even after all that happened.
Day. Around 6 a.m., as dawn broke, Kurt appeared in Callie's room on the first floor of the house. He did see me when he got home for a minute. He kicked open my bedroom door and saw me in there. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing here? You were supposed to go to LA yesterday." I was like, "I didn't
That's probably when he said you gotta get out.
want to. What are you doing here? Everyone's looking for you. Courtney thinks you're dead in a ditch." He goes, "Okay, well, I'll call her." I didn't really have any reason to think that he was on the lam and hiding, but that was the last time I saw him. According to Jessica Hopper, the last morning I was there, right about 6:37, I woke up and Kurt was standing next to the bed. He was like, "Hi," totally normal. I talked to him for a few minutes, and he made a joke. Something to do with the song, Skinhead Girl. Callie woke up, and we told Kurt, "You've got to call Courtney. She's freaking out. You have to call her." We gave him the number and some little
Even Danny told me that's bullshit.
address book, and he sat towards the end of the bed and tried to call, but they wouldn't put him through to her room. He was trying to do that for a while, and I fell back asleep. I woke up maybe an hour later, and he was sitting at the foot of the bed looking at a copy of Puncture magazine. I said something like, "Did you get through to Courtney?" He said no. The TV was on. It was a Meat Puppets video on MTV. I don't think he said anything about it. He was just watching. I don't remember him being dressed like he'd been out, although it was probably warm enough that you could be out in just a sweater.
It'd be interesting to find that from 1994. Now that there's a lot of YouTube channels with VHS tapes uploads.
But I got the impression he'd just gotten there, like he just walked in. He was casual. He didn't seem more high or sedated than normal. He seemed normal, and he was being jovial with me. I hadn't seen him since New York. So then, I fell back asleep, and he was gone. Gray Top Cab's driver, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, W.A.
Yeah, that's not what happened. He kicked them out. They got in a fight. It was, yeah.
Picked up a passenger at the Cobain residence at 7:30 in the morning.
7:30.
His report reads, he picked up a person who he thought did not match with the residence. He drove around looking for a place to buy bullets, but was unable to find one. This male told the driver that he recently had a burglary and he needed to buy bullets. The driver dropped the man off at 145th and Aurora because he said he was hungry and wanted to get something to eat. The cab fare was $27. I woke up a few hours later. Callie had called a limo service to take me to the airport. That might have been around 11 a.m. I got up. I'd been eating Diet Coke and bananas for days. I'd been sick while I was there. And I remember leaving, but I was so freaked out at leaving Callie to die there, I threw up in the driveway before getting into the limo. It was from the anxiety. I could tell something really bad was going to happen. There was a TV tray next to the bed with this pre-prepared syringe of Narcan wrapped in masking tape. Death was in the house, waiting.
See? As I noted.
It was on April 2nd. There was a block on the phone for everyone but him. I did not sleep. I called the operator every couple of hours to make sure in case they changed shifts. They all knew that if Mr. Cobain called, put that fucking call through to me.
This is coming from Courtney,
At
obviously.
8:54 a.m., I was not asleep. He called, and for 6 minutes he tried to get through and could not. For him to argue for 6 minutes on the phone is crazed. I cannot imagine him arguing for 6 minutes. He did, though.
He tried to get through for 6 minutes calling, and then she says it. He talked to her for 6 minutes? No.
And what that told him is that I was on their side, that I had a block on the phone for him, and I didn't. Kurt's whole plan was to try to wear everyone down, but he could never wear me down.
That's Courtney's plan.
I think, though, that at the very moment he thought I had given up.
But, I don't know. I mean, the press always perceives me as, like, completely tragic and fucked up anyway, and I have, like, a record coming out, so, selfishly, it might even help sell a record. I don't know, my record's coming out in, like, a week. Yeah. So, and I've learned the value of this. I didn't think it when it first happened, but all publicity is good publicity to a certain degree, unless you're Michael Jackson. What should I tell the Associated Press? I mean,
you don't think you would ever find out that you never really were in the hospital?
No. No one will tell him. I mean, the people that are so unethical with the people that I had to do this, I paid. How's that for a stint? And it appeared that I attempted suicide.
While she was with us, she said, I I'm going to kill myself a rock star someday. Don't you worry, I will kill myself a rock star. She used to say that. She used to go around the house saying that. And a lot of people just disregarded it as stupid. But it was shudderingly scary. Because the way she said it was, you had to be there, but, you know. So we knew that there was something wrong with her. But we didn't think she'd actually kill anybody, see. Well, when Kurt died, when they got married, I thought, oh, this is cool. She's going to rehabilitate herself and everything's going to be fine. Because I was stupid. You know, I mean, I was naive about that. I thought maybe that'd be cool. She'd finally get herself straightened out. And they had the baby, so I thought I was going to get to see the baby. And that didn't happen. But one morning, my wife calls me from work and says, hey, Hank, did you hear the radio? She finally did it. I said, did what? She killed herself a rock star. And then I listened to the radio and saw it on TV, and I went into grief, you know, for a long time, for a couple months. I had to go through grief counseling. I had to go into grief counseling, you know? I really did. I was getting depressed, man. So, in the process of the grief counseling, I got out of that. I managed to make my way out of it. And Courtney was calling me during that period and make, you know, she said, why are you in grief?
Now, just a second. We are going to go and cut to this. 1 second. Hey, Kurt, say hello to our YouTube audience. All right, so Kurt, it's July 8th, 2025, and it is 12:49 p.m. where I am. What do you have to say to everybody that's listening so far? There's 4 people. All right. So, what would you like to say about what happened to you, or what is there that you would like to talk about tonight? That's weird. Okay, so when you were in the kitchen and Joe and Tom, so you were hiding from private investigators that Courtney Love hired to find you? Like, anyway, so what would you like people to know that, are waiting for justice to happen for you, for the world to realize that you didn't kill yourself and that you were actually murdered? Did it hurt you to hear everybody else here in the third dimension, like say you committed suicide and that you're weak and that you're stupid and that you're awful for it, even though you were murdered, but they think that it was suicide? When you weren't, you were standing up against the systems that were trying to, uh, repress us and everything, suppress us. And, you were really changing the industry in your own creative way, in a way in which it inspired people to be against all kinds of conformity and just be themselves and do things their own way, not the corporate way. That yeah, that's awesome that you just found out about it. Sorry about AI, Kurt. So this Kelly girl just found out about the confessions of Joe Burns, your friends, that was there that night that you were murdered, and she's like, they have to reopen this case. Absolutely. Okay, we're gonna end this live. Probably through YouTube. Okay, anyway, we're going to say goodnight to everybody and end this live stream. So say goodnight to everybody, Kurt, and give them a message of advice as well. All right. Good night, everybody.